since we're talking about abundance. And yeah, I don't think money can buy you love, you know? No. Okay.
That's what everybody wants. It's the money they have it.
And money too. All right. So as we move into this concept of accepting money and love into our lives, I have the honor and the great joy to present you one of our minister in training students who a part of their curriculum for the next 2.5 to 3 years is to present a Sunday message when they're ready, if they're ready, and you know, not everybody is, but today somebody is. And it's someone that I've known, I don't even know how long. I have no idea. 15 years, 20 years? I don't know. You know, time does that thing. But Rita Biancosino is truly a blessing to this community, to my life personally, because she is a true, loving being. And I am so happy to call her my friend and a friend of Joyful Gathering. And Rita, who is a massage therapist, so get your massages from Rita, is also a dedicated student and a teacher. She's many things, but right now, she's here to deliver a message to you on abundance. Rita Biancosino.
Thank you very much. So, last week I had to share my final presentation with Reverend Margaret in there, and that's when I said I would like to see myself doing more teaching of some of the core classes here, and also preaching and, you know, giving a message. I said I felt that nudge. Well, she just pushed me the first. Well, how about June 3rd? Talk about quick manifestation. Well, here I am. Here I am. So I wrote some notes, but I feel like my talk has already been talked, has already been said between Addie's prayer and her reading, and then Joe's sharing, soul sharing. I mean, it was just everything that I've pretty much written, but I will share it myself in my own style and my own way. So, so the topic came up when I was sharing with Reverend Margaret, when I looked over my life and saw just how the universe does support me, has supported me, and does support me. I started my spiritual journey pretty much about 20 years ago, maybe a little bit more, when I was introduced to the 12-step recovery process in 1995. And then I was introduced to the science of mind in 1999. And for me, they just complement each other. You know, I learned about 12 steps, 12 spiritual principles to live by in recovery. And in Science of Mind, I learned about spiritual principles to live by. And I learned how to. I learned the 5-step affirmative prayer process. You know, I learned how to change my thinking so that I could change my life, and I was ready. I was ready for my life to change, believe me. You know, and I needed a new way of being. You know, I had grown up in a Christian and a Catholic, and I learned about the 10 Commandments, and that I had to follow them, or else I was going to be damned to hell. Well, I was going to be damned to hell if I kept, you know, at it. So, you know, I came here to religious science and found a new way of life, a new way of being. I remember my minister at the time, I would call her up and cry and say, I lost my job, I'm going to lose my house, I don't have any money. And she'd say, stop, don't say that, say this. Stop, don't say that, say this. You know, so she coached me. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of coaching. You know, I went to spiritual practitioners for coaching. You know, I started saying affirmations, like Joe has all those beautiful affirmations, which is a good segue to this, you know, talk I have here, because they really, really, really do help. We're retraining our minds, is what we're doing here in the Science of Mind. We're moving out of race consciousness. We're moving out of the hidden beliefs that we have implanted in our subconscious from our upbringing, from society, you know, that race consciousness that really doesn't serve us well, you know. And I wanted a new way of living that would serve me well. And it's a process. It's truly is a process. So, like I said, when I came to religious science, I didn't want to join, I didn't want to be a member until I found out all about this. So I took foundations class because I wanted to know what I was joining. I really did, and it really changed my life. You know, it helped me to discover that universal presence that is always available, and it's within me, you know? And how much do we believe that? You know? How can we believe that this universal presence supplies all our good? How do we begin to believe that? Well, we begin by noticing every little good thing in our life that happens, everything. And like Joe was saying, someone smiles at you. You know, maybe you were down and feeling down on yourself and that nobody cared, and then somebody smiled and opened the door for you. You know, that's God. That's that power. That's that presence that's always available, giving us exactly what we need. You know, and so are you taking responsibility for your life? You know, I learned so much, like between recovery and religious science. You know, I learned in recovery. It works if you work it. Clean house and help others. Growing along spiritual lines. Progress, not perfection. You know, are we doing these things in our life? Are we taking our own inventory? Or are we worried about what somebody else is doing? You know, so there's so much over the last 20-some years that I've really learned to deepen into my own spiritual nature. And for me, it's a passion. I love to learn, I love to grow, and now I'm falling in love with sharing. So yeah, in my opinion, I wrote that my spirit journey within is so worth it. How about you? How about you? You know, I made a commitment to myself to heal my mind, to heal my body, and to heal my spirit, because I was so far down. And so I continue on that journey, one day at a time, to the best of my ability. In religious science, we learn to mind our minds, become aware of our self-talk. What am I thinking? What am I saying? And what am I doing about it? How can I mind my mind? I notice when I'm in negative thinking, in a pattern of fear, you know, because fear is at the bottom of every behavior that doesn't suit us well. I learned that too. It was the fourth step. You know, you take a fourth step inventory of yourself and you see fear is behind every behavior that doesn't serve you well. You know. And then what are you thinking? Right? And how do we negate that? How do we negate it? We negate it with affirmations. You know, there's so many that you can come up with, and there's so many that have and still continue to support me on my journey. I have some favorite ones, you know. And one of them is the universe always provides. Yeah. The universe is impartial though as well. So what are we focusing our thinking on? Are we thinking negative thoughts? Well, they're going to be manifested just as much as the good. So mind your mind is what I'm saying. And when I'm speaking to you here today, I'm talking to myself too. Because I'm just reminding myself of my own journey on what I have to continue to do on a daily basis. After I've prayed and meditated. You know, just continue thanking God for the day and doing my part, taking responsibility for my life. Trial by error. I manage my emotions. Do you? You manage your attitudes? Do you shift to a higher thought? We are retraining ourselves, retraining our minds. I say be gentle, yet firm with yourself in the process. Seek the spiritual counseling. You know, seek it out. It has helped me tremendously, and I still seek it out. I still have a prayer partner, and I have a minister, I have all these lovely practitioners as friends, and, you know, and they just help me so much. And that's why I love this place. And I love religious science. It's such a supportive network of people, you know. And they say the universe supports you. The universe conspires for your good. Okay? God has your back 24/7. The universe always responds and says yes, a resounding yes. How much do you believe this? And how can you come to believe and trust in these spiritual truths? As I said, using affirmations, taking the classes, deepening into your higher self, becoming right-sized, you know, not too grandiose or not too self-deflating. You know, just, it helps. It works if you work it. And do you really know that there's only one source? One universal presence, yet many channels that God works through in our lives for our good. Have you heard something or seen something that really helped you, that you needed at that time, gave you information you needed, you know? And how do we come to know that the guidance is always present and always available? Is when we notice. The one thing I can say about this talk is my main talk is like notice your good, be thankful, be grateful for your good, and bless others, you know? So I'd say like, even before recovery, I had like a hunger for my life to change. And so I would go to the library, and there's the rack with all these tape cassettes on it. Of course, there's probably CDs now or whatever. And it says you could take 5. I didn't know which ones to pick. I didn't know these people talking. I didn't know anything. And I would say to God, I'd say, God, you got to lead me to what I need to hear. And I would reach in and just randomly take out 5. And darn it, you know what? I got to hear what I needed to hear. I got the knowledge I needed to know. And I got the inspiration and some courage to empower myself at that time when I had to move forward in my life and make changes. And so it's just amazing how God is always present and always available in our life. You know, just notice when the phone rings and a friend calls you and invites you over for dinner. When your cupboards are about bare and your purse is light, do you say yes or do you say no because you're feeling poor and unworthy? How do you respond when you're offered something? Well, practice saying yes to your good. Allow yourself, accept it, and be blessed and be grateful for every little bit of good that comes in your life, no matter how small it is. That's a daily practice, to train yourself noticing the good. And when you do your daily inventory at night and you go over your day, write a gratitude list of all the little simple things that you're grateful for, even if it was a red light and a good parking spot. You know, that's how I started testing the affirmations. I started testing to see, I always get a good parking lot because my parking angels, you know, parking spot, because my parking angels are with me. And I started testing it. I kept affirming, and then I just, after years of getting good spots, I said, well, you know, let's test this a little further. I'm going to see if I can get choices. And so today, I pull into a lot and I have choices. So it's amazing, you know. Or is your ride going to be smooth? Are you going to catch all the green lights? I mean, I have a little jingle that I say in my head about green lights, you know. So test it. Test the universe, because the universe always responds.
What's your green light jingle? Share it.
It's kind of silly, but I just say green lights a go, Godspeed and safety.
What is it?
Green lights are a go in Godspeed and safety.
Like green lights are a go.
So that's just my little thing. So, okay. Did someone befriend you when you needed a friend? You know? see that as a gift of them sharing their light, sharing their light, a little bit of sunshine you might need in your life. You know, how much good can you imagine for yourself? How much good can you imagine? The more good you recognize and give thanks for, the more it will seem to come in. And I can remember a time in my life when I didn't have a job, and I was starting my own business, and just things were really, really tough. And that was the time I was saying, woe is me. And a friend also said, I'm coming by to pick you up. Well, where are we going? Don't worry about it. Just get ready. So that woman is sitting in this audience here today. And she said, oh, I'm taking you to the food bank. I'm like, well, that's for poor people. And she just looked at me. You know? So I went, and I hate canned goods. To tell you the truth, I hate canned goods. But I sat there and I opened up cans of vegetables, cans of fish, you know, broth, and mixed it all together. I made a nice fish chowder, and I sat there and I ate this disgusting chowder and said, thank you, God, for this food. Because I was taught to give thanks. And no matter how disgusting I thought it was, I gave thanks because I was taught to do so. You know? So, there's two really, really little words that are so important that I've found. And they is I am. So be mindful of what you put behind I am. You know, and when you make a decision to do something or go somewhere or get something, if you say I am, and you see yourself doing or getting or whatever that you are doing, it's going to manifest. And it has in my life. I know when I made a decision, and so I encourage you to take that class.
Power of decision.
Power of decision, and I never took that class. I never took it, and I would like to come in and out, even though I'm away working some weeks. But I've noticed that when you make a decision in your life, things come to pass. When you make that decision, even if you don't have the means. I had a chance to go on a retreat one time. I was reading a book by Judith Orloff. I looked in this magazine, and she was giving a retreat up in Krippala. And it was on my birthday weekend. And that was like a sign that I had to go. I didn't know how I was going to go. It was over $500–600. I didn't have that money. But I put the deposit down. I got that together. And in the next 2 months, the means and way was provided. I got more clients. I mean, it was just amazing. So things happen when you make a decision, when you can see yourself doing or being or going or getting. You know, it's just amazing. It's been an amazing journey. And so I just want to say that I've been truly blessed, and I'm truly grateful, and I continue to be blessed, and that I am a kept woman. That's a mantra that I have.
I love it.
And I continue to be a kept woman. You know, but however, I have to be vigilant. I have to be vigilant in minding my mind. I have to always be grateful. How about you? Are you a kept woman or a kept man? You know, think about over your lifetime. Think about it, all the things that have been provided to you. You know, how you have been kept, how you've had your needs provided for, and probably much, much more than just your needs, some desires or wants, you know. So truly, truly, it has been my privilege and my honor to speak here today with you. And I'm so grateful that Reverend Margaret gave me the push.